So it is the middle of December, towards the end of December 2019. I'm Susan Morgan, and I'm here to discuss what happened a little bit and tell what happened to me on Saturday, this past Saturday. I am invited to go to a sweat lodge in Las Vegas pretty much every other Saturday. Pretty much, she runs it, and it's run by a legit Lakota medicine woman. And she's a friend at this point. And, well, I guess I have to back up. I wish there was a smoother way to tell the story. It's a very long story. I'm going to make it a quick story to the best of my ability. Years ago, before I left New Hampshire, I was given eagle feathers. A woman that lived in Maine had seen an eagle not far from her house when she was walking down a trail one day. And when she went back out on that trail the following day, the same eagle was laying dead right on her path. And even though she's not psychic per se, when she went down to pick up this eagle, she heard, "This belongs to Susan Morgan." And this happened a number of years back. And for a bunch of reasons, we didn't connect, or she would forget to bring it, or this, I'd only see her maybe once or twice a year when she was coming to a yoga class as I was about to start or finishing up my dream class or something like that in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Right before I left, she called to say to come get the eagle feathers. And I did, and I brought them back here. And even though it was an honor, and I feel lucky to have them, it was also a responsibility and somewhat of a burden, because you can't just give them to anyone. They have to go to a native person. And I was discussing this with my oldest son, saying, well, certainly, my children, my 3 children and my grandchildren could have one. And he said, oh, no, we don't deserve it. There's a whole ritual. And, I am Abenaki and Huron on my mother's side, and we were decimated. We don't have our traditions. Their traditions on giving an eagle feather, I don't know. My mother raised us to try to be as non-native as possible. We weren't even really allowed to talk about it at home. So I had these eagle feathers in a glass case, wondering what to do. My older son knew that when I passed, to put them on a mountain. That's all I knew. So I mentioned to the woman that runs the sweat a couple of weeks ago that I had these 100 eagle feathers, and I needed to know what she recommended I do with them. And she said they need to be blessed, and we'll go through a ritual. They need to be blessed by a medicine woman, which she is. And then I will show you how to wrap them in the Lakota way. I said, okay, I'll do it the Lakota way. I'm doing the sweat, which is a Lakota way. That is not Abenaki or Huron. That is Lakota. So I bring the 100 eagle feathers on Saturday, and there's a noticeable hush before we go in the inipi. It's called an inipi. It's basically a teepee, only without the point, if you can imagine that. And so she announced, and there was a larger group than normal. So there was going to be a total of 9 of us. Normally there's like 5 or 6. And it was just different. And one of the women there, who's kind of very solid, very calm and solid, I saw she looked really nervous and kind of not herself. And I had been a little flighty earlier in the day. So the whole thing, I kept thinking, why does it feel like this? It's already turning into a long story. I got to shorten it up. It's turning into a long Susan Morgan story. I got to shorten it up. Whoops, hold on. I better actually